We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. So glad to be on air. And thank you for all our supporters, people who support us. My guest, Gabriel Prawl, is going to come on. I actually in about 2 minutes to talk about legislative day and all the things that's happening with APRI. And then after that, we have Elaine Simons on, and another friend of hers named Ashley from Atlanta. And they're going to be talking about she's going to be talking about the Nelson case, Nelson versus Washington State, that her son, her foster son, was killed by a police officer out there. He was a multiple, apparently more than one victim. But at this time, the state of Washington did find him guilty. So she's going to come on and talk about that long, hard fight for that. But other than that, mothers is still around. Hey, it's been 35 years. We've all kind of gotten up there in age, and our kids are all grown. And so our way of organizing is always different. We come as collaborators, and we always stay at the table. But things are different now. And so we'll be talking about future. Or as we move through all these changes in the world, not only in Seattle, but the whole world. So, but we're grateful. Absolutely. Gratitude is one of my core virtues here is gratitude. And we have to always, always, always be grateful and to move through all these events with much gratitude, because that's how life is. And we just want to maintain and actually see what the future brings, but also looking at the weather. I mean, Seattle's a nice sunny day today. It was 31 degrees this morning, and I think it's warming up a little bit now. And so we're just grateful that things are moving in a positive way here. And I'm waiting for my guest Gabriel, and he's not on yet. So we'll just keep at it here. Radio. One thing about radio, it always goes on, and I can talk about many things. And one of the things I want to talk about right now is what does faith and steadfastness look like? Because we're all going through a lot of stuff right now that we might not have thought we've seen for us who have seen it before, but also for the young people who might not have a real understanding of things and how the world plays out. But one of the things I can say is that joy comes from within. And we have to always find a place to have some joy, because joy is what's going to take us on to the next to the next level. Joy is so necessary. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to take a little slight break here now and see if we can get in touch with Gabriel and find out what's happening with him. And this is the Mother's Justice Show, and we'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on air. My guest, Gabriel Prawl, is here now. So hi, Gabriel. Welcome.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
And we can hear you now. Thank you for coming on,
Right, thank you for inviting me.
All righty then. So, hey.
It was a pleasure coming to your show.
Well, thank you so much for that. And so I introduce you as Gabriel Prawl, the president of the APRI local chapter here in Seattle. And I know you have a lot to talk about. I mean, this is April Randolph's work, and you all have helped keeping it going on. So welcome. So yeah, just go ahead and get going. Tell us what it is.
Thank you, Mother Harriet. So we are in our 20 plus years of celebrating Charles Rowland's African American Legislative Day.
Mhm.
And just to give you some historical content on this, this started by past leadership of the president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, my mentor and sister, Verlene Jones Davis. And all this began is we had many of our members of APRI and other people in the community used to go to Olympia every year and try to meet with legislators, senators, and advocate for our community, our Black community, because it's been going on for a long time, as we see, and even today, as we see that many communities receive grants, benefits, and even encouragement and push to be better by our leaders, people that we vote, but in the African community, we haven't received the same service for our vote. So my past mentor and many others decided we have to do something to change the dynamic, how we communicate and how we push for our community to have some impact in the legislation and then in the I would say the daily life of our community, of our people of color, to advance even in the education and whether in the economic process.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they created this African American Legislative Day to be done on President's Day. And when we do that, we bring the governor, the heads, the department's heads, the legislator, and our senator. When we first started, we could count how many Black legislators were with one hand, and it wasn't 5. Today we got 14. So that's a big improvement from back then. Mm-hmm. And we got more voice at the table than we used to have. So I'm excited about that, but no, we got to put them to work. We got to put them to work, and we have to because we are the constituents, and we are the ones. So on February 17th, we'll be issuing our Charles Rowland African American Legislative Day. It's going to be in the Columbia Room in Olympia. Those will be open at 10. And so we want to bring our community and our labor people to come and support this, because we have to be part of the change. Right now, what's going on with our present administration, it's important to be involved. It's important. Everybody has to be involved. Let's put it this way. There's no one should be left out, because one of the things that I want to say is that the work that we're doing and the work that you do, Mother, is great, because what you're doing is you leaving this place to be a better place from the way you found it when you came. If you get what I'm saying, right? We all should be responsible to do that.
I want to live in it, though. I want to enjoy it.
Exactly. But in order for you to live in it, you got to make the change, because there's no way it's going to change unless you put an impact. And I think, and the reason why I say that, because I believe each and every one in this world should be responsible to doing that. We have to make this place a better place than where we got it.
You know, it seems that the burden is always on us as African people to make the world a better place. And then everybody else come and join the fight, okay? I mean, we have done this. We have carried this. We've carried this load, 246 years being seasoned as being an enslaved human being. And the burden is still on us to make the place a better place. It seems to me that it's an unfair burden for us to continue to be able to be the ones that do the work, and everybody else come on and enjoy the labors of the work. And some of the same groups that we help on the end, they out there doing something else. I think we, as African descended people, have to take a real look at what we're going to do going forward. See, I mean, I do like Legislative Day. I mean, now will there be any transportation this time? or will people be getting there on their own?
Yeah, so we have a bus leaving at 24th on Jackson.
Okay. And how's that being advertised?
So 7:20, the bus, people need to get on that bus by 7:20. You need
how's
to be
that
there.
being advertised though, Gabriel? How does the
So
community?
so you go on APRI Seattle.org and you press upcoming event and you should be able to see the information on there.
Well, is that the only way?
APRI or you can call 253-886-8339 and talk to our program director, and she will make those connections to make sure that you get on the bus by collecting your information.
Because the last time I went on the bus, I mean, it was only like 5 people on the bus. And so that's a real concern to me. And if people don't hardly know about it, how did they, for us people to actually know about it if they're not connected with that. But I guess the union is supposed to help turn out people to get on the bus too, aren't they?
Yeah, so we for one of the things that last year we had a lot of young people get on the bus because they make a stop in Federal Way.
Well, the biggest stop was in Federal Way, but I was on the bus. I was on that the last time I went. I was on the bus there at 24th and Jackson. There was only 5 or 6 people on the bus seat, and we
we gave out the information, but a lot of people come on their own, and that's been going on for quite a bit. We had a time where people call in, take a spot on the bus, but then they don't show up. They drive up there. So we deal with that many times, but our focus is people getting there. And
well, what were the people going to do once they're there? I mean, are they going to talk to their legislative, or are people they're going to get all the information about what they need, the bills they need to be working on, or talking to the people about legislative about?
So we're going to be discussing our priority bill. We got a list of priority bill. Most of them are criminal justice bill. And the reason why we focus on criminal justice bill is because the governor is pushing for $100 million funding for new police officers. And so we need police officers. We don't have a problem with police officers, but we want to have a program that focus or invest in program that focus on our community, police accountability, just like what you do, Mother. We want to be able to make sure that when we get police on the street, that they follow the rules and they don't. We don't have to deal with a George Floyd issue or Breonna Taylor issue, right? So we want to make sure that we got things in place, and there's quite a list of bills.
What's the number of that bill? Do you know the number of the bill?
One of the bills I can tell you one of the bills, HB 1056, and that's concerning law enforcement and local correction agency misconduct through investigation and legal action. And that bill, and we got a whole lot of legislators that are sponsoring that bill, including our Black legislator. And then we have HB 1274, which concern retroactively applying the requirement to exclude certain juvenile conviction from offender score regardless of the offense, because they use that against our young people. And,
Gabriel, why is that regardless of the offense? Because some of these young people have been out, some of our young people really have been out of pocket, like stealing the cars. I mean, it's a lot of other things going on. When you say regardless of the offense, well, that means that how are they going to ever correct the problem? But maybe they'll talk about that down in
exactly. So I think is basically, we know the thing is our young people is being incriminated in low level misdemeanor offenses, and I think those are the things that they probably mostly might be focusing on when they say regardless of the offense, because certain offense there's no way out. They'd be But this is also talking about after they're being convicted, because after being convicted and did their time, they still go through the discriminatory process that they
when they're 18, If they have not corrected the problem, if they 18, they get arrested, they go into jail, they go into prison. So, I mean, and so I think the community have to look at what are they going to do between 13 and 17 and a half to correct the problem. Because if you don't correct the problem, we could talk until the cows come home. When they're 18, they go into prison. And we have to look at that piece.
And that's why we got to be more involved while they're young, because the education system is a pipeline from yeah. So I'm preaching to the choir. Right. I
never agreed with that, because really education started home, and we sent our kids out to the school. I mean, I never agreed with that idea, because I didn't. I just never spoke on it because I never agreed with it. But Gabriel, you know what? Please announce again about next Monday, because next Monday, so our community can get it again, so they can write it down.
Next Monday, we have a bus. We'll be celebrating 20th plus African American Legislative Day, and a bus will be leaving from 24th on Jackson. Buses leave at 7. People need to be there before 7:20 to get on the bus. And then they will be making a stop in Federal Way, and then we'll be picking up students from Federal Way, from the Federal Way School District that will be joining us to go to our event. No, I got to be clear. There's other organization bringing their own bus with people.
Okay.
So we don't have control of that. That's bringing own people, their own bus people.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
As long as they don't get there to try to set up like they got the room, sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, this is.
But we working through that to make sure that everything is in order. We will be having a youth performance. I said a lineup guests, including the Attorney General, Department of Transportation, the Secretary Treasurer, Director of Equity, and the Black Caucus members. So these are people that are lined up already to speak. Some of the things that we'll be tackling also is the issue on the community reimbursement.
We got only about a half a minute now, Gabriel. So
the community reinvestment fund, social equity in cannabis, and reparation studies. So those are the things that also going to be on the agenda.
All right, then. I appreciate you coming on, and I'm not sure I'm going to be there this year. I think I talked to you about a little self-care for Mama Harriett. Hey, this is wonderful. And tell you lovely.
We need you to take care of yourself, Mother. We want to make sure you're here to see a lot of these changes that's going to happen, because that's what we're going to do.
A lot of them happened before, and now they're being rolled back. So
we got to keep fighting and put it where it's supposed to be.
I'm going to fight a different way this time, though. I'm going to fight with love. I mean, Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate Vanessa and everyone that's involved. And we'll be talking. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting us, and continue to do what you do, because it's beautiful when it comes, when the love is there and the people.
That's right.
Because love for humanity is better than anything. Let's put it this way.
That's right. That's the only thing that's going to last. You see what's happening now. Yes. This is the second time things has been rolled back. So.
Yes. Well, we still here, so we're going to survive too.
Andrew Jackson did this after Lincoln was assassinated. He took back the 40 acres and a mule.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we have to remember that this is the second time that what was given to the Negro.
But you know what? One thing I know about us, we take anything and make it better, and that's what we do.
Well, you know what? I just want my listening audience to remember or to know that this is the second time we have a rollback for the Negro.
We'll continue fighting.
Yeah. I love you guys. Take care. And
we love you too. Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Take care. All right. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW here in Seattle, Washington. Lovely state, Washington here, with many, many different kinds of people and many, many different kinds of trees. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to bring my next guest on here. We have Elaine Simons and Ashley McKenzie. Is that right?
Yes, Mackenzie.
Oh yeah, well, I very rarely do I do two people at one time, but I mean, I think it's fun. The other radio personality, Mr. Rai, he does it quite often, but I don't do it that often. But anyway, I want to invite you on to talk about what's going on in the world of police accountability and holding police officers accountable for the atrocities, things that they usually get away with. And for that, I want to bring on Elaine. I mean, she has been steadfast and as a foster parent of Jesse, who was actually murdered by a police officer in King County. And welcome, Elaine. You want to go ahead and start this hard presentation with love, gentleness, kindness, and peace for yourself.
Reverend. Yeah, people who've been following Jesse's story on January 23rd, 2025, Officer Jeff Nelson, former officer, oh God, it's weird, Jeff Nelson of Auburn Police Department was sentenced to 16.8 months, so 16 years and 8 months. And it was a very significant legislation here in Washington State in 2018. We passed the I-940, which was powerful. It removed malice and quantified immunity. And what it did was start evaluating what another reasonable officer would do in a similar situation. And so most of the case was in the trial was focused on, was this reasonable? And I don't know how many people followed this case, but it took us almost 6 years to get to this moment. And I just learned last week he was officially fired from the Auburn Police Department.
Do they take the money back? Do they get the money back? Because he was on.
That's a whole other story. But he was officially fired, and his last paycheck was back on conviction day, back on June 27th. And we didn't know that. So he was not being paid the minute he went into jail on conviction day.
Wow.
And so now I'm just following it. I'm following to make sure he gets decertified, watching everything along the way, appeals. I mean, for the next 16 years and 8 months, my life will be like focusing, not as much, but to make sure that he doesn't somehow get something in his favor. So it's been a journey, and I was learning from Ashley, and that's why I thought it was really important to bring her on, was about, I think there's 12 states in America that have gotten rid of quantified immunity, my understanding, and Washington State is one of them. And I just want to thank you, Reverend, for continuing to bring me on this journey. We've been together for years, each piece of it. And it's just a blessing to be able to share, Jesse's life and who he was as a young man. And just that it was a horrible, horrible kill.
Right. And you know what, Elaine, one of the things that I know we've worked for so many years is to make sure that we get police accountability. I mean, and now the Washington State Coalition is using police accountability. A lot of places are. We made it a household name back in 1990 and in the early 90s. But one thing I know for sure is that this case absolutely spotlighted so many ways how the officers absolutely get away with taking other people's lives. I mean, it's not that one, George Floyd. There's a lot of them around the country, and I do believe that the change is going to come, but it's going to come in a different way. But and I just want to let you know, I know how hard it is. I really do. I mean, that's one of the things that I've had to do over the years is how to preserve myself to do the work. Like I very seldom ever go to inquest. I mean, because sometimes it is so hard. And the inquest before always found that it was reasonable. It was in policy shooting. So this is a significant case, not only for Seattle, Washington State, but around the country. And I just want to let you know that that I know it was difficult for you to go through that. And I think that you might want to talk a little bit about Jesse's family and how a lot of times I was talking to my son about Tyrone Love. He got murdered, but that wasn't by law enforcement. But how his mother didn't live too long after that. And I think the young man, Gardner, I think his mother has passed on to one of his sisters. It takes a toll on the family and the heartstrings of the people. And so you want to talk a little bit about his family, Jesse's family.
Jesse had a short stay in my home. He lived with me about 6 months, but his younger brother, Terrell, is my son. He lived with me for almost 10 years and aged out of foster care from my home. And so I entered into the Saray family back in about 2004. And it was an interesting trajectory for me to go into a Cambodian family because every time I showed up at the family's home, they thought I was a white social worker. They couldn't understand that I was taking care of and the children. But the toll that it took is immeasurable. Carrie, his biological mother, I don't like the word co-parenting, but her and I worked out something where I was the mother raising Terrell, but she was still the mom. We were both interchangeable in that. And I found it was more important for me to become a friend and have a relationship with the mother if I was going to be successful with the younger brother being able to stabilize. When Jesse came into the home, Stacy, he didn't have the same kind of mechanisms and tools of how to manage being brought back in with his brother because they haven't lived together in about 3 years. And so he ended up in a residential treatment center. I don't know if you remember Ryther, but Ryther Children's Center. Yep. So he ended up there and we continued. When we got to the point of this murder trial, and you'll see this across the nation, it does take its toll. Carrie was newly widowed. Her husband died 1 month before Jesse was brutally murdered. So she was a grieving mother with a 14-year-old son, Colton. And I just love Colton. And she just couldn't do it. Matthew, her older son, spoke for the first time publicly at the sentencing, and he actually put to words her coping mechanism was turning to the bottle. And that was the first time I've ever heard the family even mention about that piece of the mental health and coping. And she died in 2021. My son Terrell, he too had a real struggle. And in August of 2022, I lost Terrell. So I lost not only Carrie, who gave me permission to be her voice during this fight, but I also lost my son, who was my love, Terrell. And so I started to enter this fight with people around me from the family. And as time went on, it took too much. It just took too much.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand that. So, well, we might just kind of take our breath and just understand that for people to understand that what happens. I mean, it's amazing, and it's so many families. And actually, we're going to soon get to you too. We're going to take a break here after a while, and then get to you also. But it's so many families in America that will never get justice.
Yes.
I mean, so many people who had just arrested. Sometimes they get an arrest and the charges are not, the charges are unfounded, but the person has already lost the job. I mean, so many other things happen around law enforcement that keeps people on some ways from never getting their life back, and it's no justice for those people. So anyway,
And that I do want to, before we move, someone asked, do you have survivor's guilt, Elaine? And that was I've never had someone ask me that. I don't have survivor's guilt. What I have is an immense responsibility of being 1% of the nation that sees this kind of accountability and resolution. And it took 85 years to see it in the state of Washington. And so my purpose now will start defining itself, and that is being there and present for the Ashleys of the world, for all the mothers out there, because guess what? I just got an immense weight and taken off me that now shifts me into a different, trajectory.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? This is we'll just take a break right now. I think my studio manager might have a nice song for us to take a break with. But you're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Harriett. Let me take a break right now.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And if you haven't checked out Ruthie Foster, check her out. She's pretty cool. I love her. Thank you. My Eric, my studio manager, he always plays the right song for the right moment. I like that. You know how it is, the right song. You get the right moment. Brings a little levity, brings a little joy back to us as mothers who all is in the same club. I mean, although my son Hiram, he passed away 20 years ago. I was with him when he took his first breath, and I was with him when he took his last breath. But to me, we're all in the same club, and that's how I see it. Nobody signed up to be in this club. So it's where we are. But I'm going to let you introduce Ashley and tell us so we can get her on there,
It's my honor
Elaine.
to introduce Ashley McKenzie. She is all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, and she is a justice queen that I met in Minneapolis when we went to Cordell Handy's celebration of life. And so it is an honor to be able to share this platform with her and for you guys to learn a little bit about her son.
Oh, yeah. Welcome. I welcome.
Thank
Ashley.
you. It is an honor.
You have a beautiful
It
smile.
is. Hey, thank you. I just went to
What
the
did you
dentist
do?
not too long ago, so that's a good thing. But it is such an honor to be here. My name is Ashley McKenzie. I am the mother of Jalen McKenzie, who was killed on December 16th, 2022, in Memphis, Tennessee, 2 weeks before Tyree Nichols doing a traffic stop. He was in a car with 3 other young men, and they all got out and ran. They want to say that my son fired at them, and they returned fire. So there's so many moving pieces to my son's story. I could sit on here for hours and talk about all the stuff that is just incorrect. So I'll just talk about little bitty points of it. So my son was hit 6 times. The autopsy read 5. My son's body was moved. His death certificate has the wrong address on it. The gun that they said my son had in a video camera, you don't even see him shooting or aiming at the officer that at the officer that actually shot him in the chest. He was shot from the back, the front, the side, every angle you can think of, my son was shot. He was even shot on the ground. So that is some new details that we're just now airing on here. So that's kind of overwhelming, but it just shows how the police will use excessive force on people of color. They are targeted, our boys are targeted all the time. It doesn't matter when we say people of color, you can be Mexican, you could be Latino, you can be Black. It's anything of color, they are targeting our kids. And for some reason, they're feeling threatened by it. So one of the things that we've been doing now is trying to run these national campaigns. And thanks to Elaine and the Jesse Saray story, it shows, it gives people hope. Even though the story, even though it may have happened so many years ago and it's not really current, it still gives hope that you keep pushing, keep going until you get those results that you need and want for what you want justice to look like for your child. Everybody's idea of justice is going to be different. And that's one thing that we're learning. Some people are aiming for monetary things, and some people are aiming for officers to be charged, and some people just stop at civil. So every story is different. Every expectations is different. There's no wrong, there's no right. You have to choose you have to desire what it looks like for you and your
Right.
family. And for us, we are aiming for criminal charges. We want the officer charged. That's the most justice in my eyes. I can't speak for everybody else. I think if we get more criminal charges in these cases, then we can see more police go to jail, then we can see less excessive force, deadly force, the word of qualified immunity being able just to be thrown up, even though they don't even deserve, that's not what it actually was. I think they use that so often and so careless. Qualified immunity. Oh, qualified immunity, and it doesn't even fit
You
what the
want to explain
situation
what
was.
that means to people, the qualified
So
immunity?
qualified immunity is what lets police get off for killing you. Pretty much that's what it is in a nutshell. I mean, of course, there's more details to that, but as long as an officer feels like they're threatened or their life is in jeopardy, they can say qualified immunity, and the system, the laws will back them up. And then therefore our kids, we're having to bury them, and we're having to live with all the trauma that comes with that. Not meaning that may be necessarily the case, but that's what the laws do. They back that up. And that's why ending qualified immunity, police reform is really important. And making sure that each one of these states are becoming ballot states. And that's important. If you become a ballot state, you can make those choices of what laws you actually have in your area, in your state. So not many states are ballot states. Where I'm from, Georgia is not. One of the issues with my son's case as well is we're from Georgia, but he died in Tennessee, which means that we had absolutely no rights. I had to automatically obtain a lawyer, or I would have not get anywhere because I'm not a citizen of Tennessee, even though my son died in Tennessee. So we couldn't
Wow.
get anything. When I went out there, they wouldn't release anything to me because they said I'm not a citizen.
Wow. Well,
But you could kill my son, though.
one thing I want you to understand, the 1916 dictionary said that the word Negrophobia, and what it meant is that he was afraid of a Negro. That's where this comes back. So if you study old dictionary, that idea of being afraid of the Negro, but there's no white phobia in the dictionary. It's only Negrophobia.
But the thing about that is what's crazy is it's not even necessarily whites that's killing blacks. It's blacks killing blacks because the
no, I was
officer.
talking about the word. I was talking about that word and that fear. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it really should be a phobia for all colors because it doesn't matter that everybody killing everybody.
Well, that wasn't possible in 1916. It was a
Right.
Negro, and so that's why it's still in the Negro. It's still in the dictionary.
Which is sad.
So for people to understand, and that's why people have lost their jobs because somebody might say they were afraid of that individual. and they can go back and find the site where it came from, and that person get fired. I mean, it's just a little piece of tidbit history that's still following us on today, and that's why people they get away with that in the past. But what you're talking about, both of you are talking about the changes that's on the horizon and the changes that you can get from the ballot. And I've been following Memphis, Tennessee ever since that case with the 5 police officers. I get the
Tyree.
headline. Tyree,
Mhm.
yes, I've been following that case, and I mean it's just like wow, it's so much stuff happening in Memphis. But I'll let you go ahead on, and we'll talk another couple minutes, and then we'll take our last break. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much again in my son's case, it was unjustified, and we're actually getting ready to go to trial and all those things. So that's kind of exciting because we're getting closer to what my expectations are. But there are many families that are out here fighting, and I don't say, that we won't get justice. I just say that justice look really delayed for us. For one of those reasons is that police brutality awareness is not as big as gun violence or any other type of awareness. And that's one of the initiatives that I personally decided to tackle on was to get out here and just start working with everybody from any state. It didn't matter the story, just so that we can all kind of get some type of unity together. And so that's one of the things we have with Say Their Name Monuments is where we remember names from everywhere. It doesn't matter. Even if the story doesn't sound right or if they say the story is right, it doesn't matter. It's a life lost. And at the end of the day, everybody is important. And so that's what Say Their Names is all about, is for us to remember these lives. And we're going to fight as a whole. There's lots of us out here that's have our feet on the ground, and we're not playing. So there are some changes that's going to be made. And like I say, with Elaine, and the Jesse, that made a huge it hit for everybody because now we like, oh, what you gonna do now? We got we,
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll just skip this last break so we can just go ahead with this momentum. But yeah, and that's what it takes. I mean, and one of the things it takes too is fortitude. It really takes staying in the game. I mean, really and truly. I mean, who would have thought that 35 years ago, I mean, that I'd still be doing this? Of course, my son was beat up, but brutalized. In those days, they was putting guns to the head and making them get out the car. And it's like, wow, I mean, it's like a generation. 30 years is a generation. So it's been a long time we've been doing this work. So I just understand what it is. And yeah, we needed some, not needed. That's not the correct word. But this case has been used to highlight, number one, that change is possible. And we live in a system that's all tied down with a lot of things. And police officers come from being slave catchers, and that's the history of them. But it takes stamina to keep going, and I'm glad that to see you all coming together. That's what's going to take. It's going to take all kinds of movement of leadership of people coming together, putting their differences aside, because even with violence in the community, this is what I'm saying that for mothers, as it looks to go forward, is that we have to do a parallel track. We just can't always, we have to be just as concerned about the violence in the community as we are with this, with police violence. And I think it has to be a parallel track to be able to stop both of them in a way. But I'm just, so how can people know about this national, and be able to donate or whatever it is whatever it is the foundation is for?
So they can go to www.saytheirnamesmonuments.com.
Wow.
And they can even register their kids on there. It could be gun violence. It can be pedestrian fatalities.
Well,
Police.
you talking about that pair. You bringing people together in a different way. This is just what I see. This is wonderful. I mean, it's not wonderful for the event, but it's wonderful for the unity. So I want to
We
make
need
sure.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, so they
Continue.
can
I'm
just
sorry.
go to the they can
sorry.
just go to the website. They can register. And then we'll feature their loved ones at all of our national initiatives. We also have town halls monthly, like the one we just had talked about sovereignty and qualified immunity. And we had an attorney on there that kind of walked you through like different cases, what it was. So we have different things going on monthly. I'm all about education. I feel like if we educate ourselves more, then we can understand what we're up against. But if we're not educated to understand what we're dealing with, then how are we moving forward?
That's right. That's right.
So,
Education is the key.
yeah. So
Yes.
that's what my biggest thing is just education. So we have a couple of things that's getting ready to drop. We just dropped our 2025 Say Their Name calendar. That just dropped. What else? The tribute book will be coming out in about a week or two. We had to reformat that. That was a bigger project than I thought it was going to be.
You have this
Do
energy.
you
I
have
want
other
to. I want to
children?
take some of it.
Do you have other children, Ashley?
I do not. Jalen was my only. He was
Oh
my
my
only
God.
child. Yeah, so that's where some of this some of this time is coming from because I don't have to split it with anybody and it's keeping me busy, 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 busy. But
Yes.
we also have a workbook that's getting ready to come out that I'm really excited that I'm launching for the first time. That is for impacted families. So when I remember when I first got into this, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a workbook that's getting ready to come out that will actually walk you through the first couple of hours to years of what you need to do when you're involved in one of these traumatic situations, whether or not it's gun violence, police brutality. And it'll just walk you right through it. Even to legal, it has a glossary. It has workbook pages where you can just put your emotions in. You can plan a funeral, a memorial, uh press conference, a rally. I really want people to understand how to become self-sufficient
Right.
when it becomes to this, because a lot of times we reach out to activists and we get mad at them when they can't accommodate us. But there's cases after cases after cases and lives after lives after lives. And we may have a spotlight for 24 hours, but after them 24 hours, it's another life that they got to jump onto. So it's not necessarily always lights, camera, action. Sometimes we got to put ourselves in their shoes as well because they're just one person. But if you
Yes.
become self-sufficient, and you learn how to do all these things on your own and you only use them as a resource
Right.
and not your entire campaign, we're going to
Right.
be able to we'll be able to do way more.
Oh, this is it. You know what? Out of tragedy and sorrow, that's why they say, hold on, the light always comes. I mean, that is the promise. The
Yeah.
promise of life is out of sorrow, the sun will come.
That's right.
And that sun will shine on other people. And it's through that, and I'm just amazed here. That's what's happening out of sorrow. So out of sorrow,
I
joy will
remember that
come.
I didn't realize people were waiting to be asked. They didn't know how to approach me. And when we put on
Minutes now,
Jesse's,
so, yeah. I said we have less than a minute now to be
Oh,
on.
okay. I just wanted to say real quickly, when I had put on a big event a couple of years ago, all the people were waiting for that ask.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
that's right. That's right.
the response was so amazing, and the talent from the hip hop community,
Oh
from
yeah.
break dancers to rappers to MCs,
Yes.
they were just waiting. And I think that's it. They don't know how to approach us.
That's right.
And so we can't be afraid to ask as well.
Fast. But also, I'm going to have you all back on again, and for you to be able to talk more about that. And I just really want to let you know that I understand, and I'm glad, not glad for the event, not glad that your family member has been murdered or is taken away and all of that. But out of this, what's going to come for the world? It's going to come something great for the world. And so let's stay together because we're all in the same. We all in that club at the end of the day.
Yep.
Let's stay together, okay? And I want to just thank you for coming on. I want to thank Eric and all our supporters for Market Street Shoes supporting Mother's Justice Show. And you've been listening to Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. I love being on the air, and we'll be talking soon. Thank you.